This Saturday is Valentine's Day, so I thought what better time would there be than now to do a special event Pokemon, Nidoqueen with the lovely kiss. You see, there were a lot of Gen 2 event Pokemon distributed by the Pokemon Center in New York City, and one of them was a lovely kiss Nidoran Female. And while Nidoran Male also got access to that move via the same Pokemon Center type of events, I thought that it would be worthwhile to look at the Nidoran Female line on the basis that, unlike the Nidoran Males, they're not still in the running on the Minimum Battles series. And it could be that simply getting access to a status move is all that they need to go from being an afterthought to being completely overpowered. You see, even though Nidoqueen ranks pretty well in terms of base stats, at least, with a 495 base stat total, it doesn't really have any stats that particularly stand out. Unlike its male counterpart, it doesn't have the strong offensive stats that are usually associated with being a fast speedrunning Pokemon, instead relying on its defenses and HP in order to be a little bit more survivable. And when you add on that in the later parts of Johto, there are a lot of bosses and gym leaders that have super effective moves against the poison and ground types, Price, Claire, Will, and Lance in particular, Nidoqueen might actually need access to a status move to actually be top tier. So let's get into this and see just how good this Pokemon would be if it got access to the move Lovely Kiss via the event all the way back in the early 2000s. But to do it properly, we are going to have to start with the first stage evolution, since after all, that is how the move was actually distributed as an egg with a Nidoran Female that knew the move Lovely Kiss. So let's get into this, evolve as we go, and see how it works out with this Pokemon. So today, as we step into Professor Elm's lab, he's going to tell us to pucker up because it's time to run with this lovely Kiss Queen here. And we're just going to see how this actually goes as we go through the run. Now, I've always just felt like the Nidoqueen line gets super overshadowed by the Nidoking line. Obviously, it has to do with speed running in the Gen 1 games, but this is Gen 2, and giving access to Lovely Kiss for this Pokemon might be completely broken. In fact, there were a lot of Pokemon that got access to moves like Lovely Kiss via the New York Pokemon Center events. Obviously, Nidoran Male can also learn the move, funny enough, but I think Snorlax is the more interesting one. Like, if we ran a Lovely Kiss Snorlax, I think it would be one of the most broken Pokemon in the game, but in order to validate that, I think we should just start with something that's a little bit weaker, something that has failed in the Minimum Battles series so far, and just see how we go with this Lovely Kiss Nidoran Female. So as we come into the Rival 1 fight, he leads off with the Cyndaquil, but we're going to introduce him to the power of the Lovely Kiss. He immediately gets put to sleep and we can start tackling here. Even though we missed the first one, I think we're going to get the range to easily knock this Pokemon out and hopefully not even have to use our berry. Sure enough, Kiss Queen completely destroys that first rival and we're on to the Falkner Gym, a place where we really struggled previously. Now, I expect this early game part to be a little bit rough with this Pokemon, just given the fact that we don't have a whole lot of good moves to use, so we're going to have to see how this goes. Since we are just kind of weak as an attacker, I think when we evolve into Nidorina, things are really going to start to pick up though Nidorina is also out of the Minimum Battle series. And then of course, when we get access to Surf later on, we'll be able to go to Tojo Falls and actually evolve this Pokemon into a Nidoqueen, at which point I think we're going to become completely overpowered. But there is a legitimate question of if we want the ground typing for Claire. We might actually be better off with Nidoran Female and not having that type weakness when we go into that gym. I may stay as a Nidorina until at least after the Rocket storyline, just because of the fact that the ground typing could give me a little bit of a problem. We'll just have to find out. For now though, let's make our way into Falkner's gym and just see how this Pokemon goes. Of course, first up, we've got this Spearow from Honest Abe, and I'm going to put it to sleep. Heck did 8 damage here, so we're getting like 4 hit KO'd from this first Pokemon, and we're missing all of the Lovely Kisses. We finally get one to hit. We can growl, but I don't actually think there's any point in growling. And look at that. The tackle only does 4 damage. We would need God tier luck to get through this one at that point, but if we can land Lovely Kiss early in the fight and then use a bunch of growls, I think we actually have a chance here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put Spearow to sleep, and now I'm going to start growling at it like crazy. I don't know how it hears us growling at it while it's asleep, but that is going to allow us to get its damage output down, and now we can start tackling and hopefully just win the damage race as it just stays asleep for a bunch of turns. So here, when it does wake up, it's not doing enough damage, and we get through on the second attempt and get access to Scratch. That is a massive improvement for this little Nidoran. The fact that it can put that Pokemon to sleep and get here is just way beyond what it did in the original Minimum Battle series. Now we've got to see how we do against the God Rod, though. He's got 2 Pokemon. Still, if we land the Lovely Kiss, I think we're good to go. Scratch is slightly stronger than Tackle, so we'll just use this move to get a 4-hit KO from the looks of things. And we get a level up to level 9. And as long as we just keep kissing, we're going to keep getting through these Pokemon and even almost get to level 10 here just before Falkner. Now, I think we're going to need a berry in this one, and we're probably going to need some good Lovely Kiss luck. We're going to be slower than the Pidgeotto, though we will be faster than the first Pidgey. So if we can land the Lovely Kiss early on, we'll avoid some of the mud slaps, and that will help us immensely. But let's see how this actually goes. So Falkner attempt number 1, I realize I misclicked and put on an antidote rather than a berry, but hopefully this works out just fine. We can put the Pidgey to sleep. We're going for the scratches. It looks like it might be a 4 or 5 hitter. We get 1 mud slap there, but we do manage to get through that Pokemon and get to level 10. That brings out Pidgeotto. It goes for Gust. I misclicked and used another Lovely Kiss, so that's pretty terrible. But I will growl at this Pokemon a couple of times before going into the scratches just to see if we can win this damage race. Gust gets a critical hit, but then only does 3 damage with the next hit. The problem is that we've just missed too many times, so we lose. We need better luck on that first Pidgey, and I need to make sure to actually have a berry on rather than having an antidote on. So with that now fixed, let's see if we win the second attempt here. Once again, we get the Pidgey to sleep, and on this one, I think we just go all in on attack. We're hoping to knock it out before it wakes up. Unfortunately, we once again get 1 accuracy drop here. Still, we get 2 Pidgeotto. It goes Gust. We miss the Lovely Kiss. We finally hit after that. We're not doing great damage here. We can growl, but when it wakes up, we have to try to put it back to sleep. Now I'm going to just scratch and hope that I can get the ranges to knock this Pokemon out before it wakes up. We get a nice crit there, and we finally win on the second legit attempt against Falkner. It's just a matter of the sleep luck, but you can get it to go. You're basically going to take 1 mud slap there unless you get really good ranges with the sleep, but it ultimately isn't that bad to get through that fight. So now we're just going to have to see how we do in this next section, but we're going to make our way down to the Bugsy gym, where I think we'll be okay as long as we can put the Scyther to sleep when it's setting up Fury Cutter. We should be fine, but we'll just have to see if it actually works out. Now I think we'll be just fine in the Rocket storyline here in the Slowpoke well. So let's make our way straight to Bugsy and just see how he goes. Though, of course, these fights do depend on actually landing Lovely Kiss because we take too much damage from the Rattatas. So I probably shouldn't speak too soon. Still, as long as we get the sleep on them, we will be just fine, provided they don't wake up and get some good ranges on us. And sure enough, we are progressing and we get to learn Double Kick. We'll simply learn that over Tackle and we're ready to move on in this section. Now I'm going to stay on minimum battles in this one as far as I possibly can. I'm only going to take optional battles if they're 100% required, which honestly I don't think they will be with the Lovely Kiss. I think it's always going to give us enough chances to get through, even in tough fights, that we basically will never go for an optional battle in this entire run. But let's just see if that's actually the case or if there is any sort of wall that we run into. For now, at least, we're progressing just fine with our Nidoran Female. We've made it through the Slowpoke well and Jamesy Proton. Kurt's gonna lead us back upstairs. He says, it's time to go kiss some bugs in the Bugsy gym. Let's see how this goes. So here we get to Bugsy, and it's time to see if we can actually beat him with this Nidoran Female. Against the first Metapod, I put it to sleep, and now I'm going to Scratch. I want this one to sleep so it doesn't set up a bunch of Hardens and basically make it impossible to get through. And sure enough, we managed to knock that one out. We get to level 16 right here. We can go Lovely Kiss on Kakuna, and it's back to the scratching here, just again, hoping that it doesn't get the chance to set up any Hardens. It sets up one at the end, but that's perfectly fine. We still managed to get through, and now it's Scyther time. It starts to set up Fury Cutter. We put it to sleep. Time to scratch, and we are getting a nice critical hit there. Oh, very good. We should have more than enough PP to get through this Pokemon. Even if it wakes up and sets up Fury Cutter, it's not going to be enough. So we get through. We get to level 17. We get to learn Poison Sting here. Kind of important. This is our only move that can actually hit the Ghastly in the next fight. So I'm going to forget Growl to learn Poison Sting. That will give us a nice moveset. Though, I mean, Poison Sting's not going to be great in this next fight. It's probably going to do like 1 damage, but still not too bad. Now, of course, the other thing is we've made it to level 16, which means we get to evolve right here. It's time to become Nidorina. That comes with a nice buff to our stats, as well as getting access to Poison Sting just in time for rival number 2 is really good. We're just gonna have to see if it's enough to actually get through this fight, but I think with the sleep plus the fact that at least Poison Sting is physical, we're gonna be able to get through the Ghastly. Then we're just gonna have to see how we do on the rest of the team, but I think we're gonna outspeed a lot of things at this point, so we just have to see how it works out. We are running on max TVs here. I want to see the best possible version of this Pokemon, so let's just see how it goes and if we can get the minimum battles to keep going with the Nidorina here. So here against the rival, he leads off with Ghastly. We go for Lovely Kiss, of course. Now Poison Sting's not going to do much. It's doing 1 damage per hit. Maybe we can get some crits or something here, but this is really just all about whittling this Pokemon down little by little. We hope we don't get hit by Spite here. Now we almost certainly should have given this Pokemon a berry at the start of this fight, just because of how incredibly tedious this section is against the Ghastly. Still, we are going to take it down even on this first attempt, it looks like, though just on very low health getting to the Zubat. We get Bite and flinched here, and we lose the first attempt, but let's just try this one again. First off, we'll give a berry so that we have a way to hopefully at least gain back some HP there, and maybe that gives us a chance. So back again to this one, we're going to Poison Sting on the Ghastly. We're hoping that it doesn't put us to sleep like that. It just immediately woke up and went Hypnosis. Honestly, it might have been worthwhile to have access to Growl here just because of how much damage we're taking, and it just takes 32 turns to actually knock out the Ghastly here because of the fact that we're only doing 1 damage per hit. Poison Sting, in spite of the fact that it is stab, is 4 times resisted here, so there's just no way to make this any better than what we're doing right now unless we want to go struggle strats here. Struggle would certainly get us through this Pokemon. It would just be bad on the next couple of Pokemon. I think we wouldn't have enough HP to get through everything is my guess. So quick note from Teo from the future here. For some reason, when I was doing this Rival 2 fight, I kept thinking that I didn't have access to any other moves. I didn't want to go for struggle strats, so I was like, oh, I'll just try to win the fight with Lovely Kiss and Poison Sting against the Ghastly. But of course, you have access to Mud Slap here. There's no reason not to learn this move at this point. Poison Sting is basically unnecessary for the entire run. There's never a spot where you're like, if only I had some Poison Sting. So you're basically just going to throw on Mud Slap here, and then this should be an insanely easy fight. So let's just test it to verify. So here, of course, we can just come in. We're not even healed, but we'll just go sleep on the Ghastly and start Mud Slapping. And then we can see it's like a 3-hit KO here. Okay, it's kind of bad if it starts going Spite, but we still get the 2-hitter there. And in spite of the fact that we're paralyzed, I think we could win this fight. So even paralyzed, we take down the Zubat. We can get to the final Quilava here. We just put it to sleep. I had a Berry on. I didn't even have a paralyzed Cure Berry on. Completely unprepared for this fight, but now with the Mud Slaps, this one looks like an easy victory. So that's kind of the point. If I had been thinking about the fact that I had the Mud Slap TM in the bag, that would have made this fight like 100 times easier than I made it on myself. So with that, you can just kind of laugh at how bad I was doing. Obviously, I was a little run down at the end of the day. I was working all night editing RSE Pokemon Challenges videos so that he could have his 4th episode of the Roxanne Minimum Battle series out. I was helping RBY today on an Ultra Minimum Battles run with Raticate because clearly he needed to bring in a top tier strategist in order to do it. And then I got to the end of my day and I was running this one, and for whatever reason, the fact that I had TMs just completely left my mind. Still, I hope you enjoy watching me struggle to win a fight with just Poison Sting and Lovely Kiss against that Ghastly. Hey, we did get it eventually, so technically it does work. So let me walk you through one of the most tedious battles I think I've ever had in my life. Sitting here using Poison Sting against this Ghastly, then having it use Hypnosis against me, and sitting here spamming the Lovely Kiss while I'm asleep, just hoping to put it to sleep when I wake up, getting Spite into Lovely Kiss so that I don't have any PP left, misclicking, and just hoping that I can take this one down from this range. Granted, we do have the Berry on, so we get 10 HP back, but once we're paralyzed, we just sit here and miss so many turns that this one is borderline impossible to get through. It's not impossible, you just need a lot of luck to get through this first Ghastly. I think we have chances against everything else if we can just get this one to go down. So when we do get to the Zubat, we have no Lovely Kisses left. We have like 8 Poison Stings remaining, but we just get knocked out by a critical hit Bite. So there's just no chance to get through that one. I think we need a run where we don't get so much bad paralysis luck, and it's just going to be really, really luck-based to actually get through this first Pokemon. We're hoping for it to use like Hypnosis and miss, or Hypnosis and we immediately wake up and put it to sleep. Definitely runs where we don't get any Spite used against Lovely Kiss so that we keep as much of that PP as possible for the remaining Pokemon. Since we're gonna be paralyzed, almost definitely, there are just too many turns and too many chances for it to lick me and get paralysis that way. And of course, it always seems to want to use Spite when I'm using Lovely Kiss to try to put it back to sleep. This rival is just an absolute troll. So ultimately, it takes 23 attempts to get through the Ghastly with decent enough HP to even have a chance against the Zubat that comes out next. We do have 2 Lovely Kisses remaining, so I'm going to put this one to sleep and start scratching it. Looks like a 3 or 4 hit KO. Turns out to be a 4 hitter, but we do manage to get through. We get to level 18 as Quilava comes out. It goes Leer, we go Lovely Kiss. And at this point, I guess we can just double kick on this Pokemon over and over again, because this is basically our strategy for getting through this. But it turns out that you can eventually get through with the Poison Sting strat there. It is just insanely tedious, but that keeps Mud Slap in the bag for later situations. Very likely when we get to Jasmine later on, that will be our strategy to get through. That's the one reason we might want to become Nidoqueen earlier, is of course so that we actually manage to get through that fight a little bit easier with the Steelix. So I'm honestly not sure. I definitely should have gone Mud Slap there in that last battle though. That would have made that one far easier than what I made it on myself. But we did prove you can manage to get through with just Poison Sting against the rivals Ghastly with a Nidorina. That's kind of nuts. And with that, we're ready to make our way on towards Whitney here. Let's go into the underground first. Let's get the extra levels, get the coin case, but then it should be a pretty easy time getting to her. We'll see if the double kick is enough to take the gym leader down. So Whitney attempt number 1, I'm going to Lovely Kiss on her Clefairy. That puts it to sleep. Now we can just double kick, and this is going to be an easy 2-hit KO. Miltank comes out next. It goes Stomp. We go Lovely Kiss. There are no attract strats here, fortunately, so we can get a double kick. We get 1 crit there. We get her on low health, and just like that, we defeat Whitney on the first attempt with this Nidorina. Super easy victory, and with that we can get the plain badge and we're ready to move on in the game. All minimum battles no TMs used so far. It's kind of nuts. Obviously, the Rival 2 fight would have been much easier with the Mud Slap, but hey, we managed to get it to go, and we are ready to move on to Morty. We might have to go for TMs here. I don't think we're going to naturally get to the point of like fight or something. So this is probably the end of our no TMs run, but still, we are at least making progress in this one. Now, I know everybody's going to ask, why didn't you use any TMs in that Rival 2 battle, Teo? And I'm going to answer to you that for a second, RBY Pokemon Challenges took over here, and he doesn't like to use TMs in his run, so he wanted to try it without TMs apparently. Granted, because of the bad strategy, he's going to lose out on his pay for this video. I'm going to keep it all for myself. So go over there and tell RBY Pokemon Challenges that he is not GSC Pokemon Challenges. Just tell him that right now. We're back, and it's time to get through these Kimono girls. Now here we are ever so slightly slower than the Haunter on the Rival 3 team. So I'm just going to take this opportunity to go to the Lighthouse. Let's gain a couple levels here and just see how we do after that. Since we can at least get to level 25 with these medium slow level up Pokemon, it might be enough to at least get a speed tie. So now that we go through the Lighthouse, we are in a speed tie with that first Haunter. I'm going to teach a couple of moves here. This isn't part of the Minimal Battle series, so I feel pretty good about just like smashing on moves that I think will help. We're going to learn Headbutt over Scratch. I'll just give Dig while I'm opening the bag here. Let's go ahead and use Mud Slap on Nidorina over the Poison Sting. Obviously, Poison Sting's stab, but is really weak. I don't think there's any need to have that move. So the Mud Slap is the way to go here, and that's going to give us a much better range on this Rival's Haunter. Hopefully, we can win the Speed Flip, put it to sleep, and then slap it down. Let's see how this goes. So Rival 3 attempt number 1, we're going for the Lovely Kiss, and we get it turn 1 before it gets a chance to do anything. Now it's time to go slapping, and this is going to be an easy 3-hit KO, getting us through that first Pokemon. Out comes the Magnemite. We're just sticking with the Mud Slap. 1-hit KO victory there. Now for the Zubat, we missed the Lovely Kiss. It gets the Confuse Ray. We hit ourselves in confusion. This is terrible, but eventually we will land the Lovely Kiss, and now we're going for the Headbutt, and this is a 2-hitter on that Pokemon. Now we've made it to Quilava. We outspeed, put it to sleep, and then I think the Headbutt is the way to go. It's going to be stronger than the Mud Slap. I don't think we need the Mud Slap strats here until it's on low health, and then we can get the very easy victory. So just like that, Rival goes down. We're ready to make our way downstairs, see this Suicune, watch this guy get super excited about Suicune. It's all he wants for Valentine's Day is to have a Suicune sitting right next to him, you know? You gotta appreciate the little things in life. The happy things in life, guys. Anyway, with that, let's make our way into the gym and just see how we do with the Mud Slap strats here. Now, we will not learn Tail Whip when we get it by a level up. I don't understand why this Pokemon gets Tail Whip at level 27. It feels a little bit late for that move to come in. Still, we do manage to at least gain another level as we go through this, but Mud Slap is not 1-hit KOing anything. It's going to take multiple hits on all of these Pokemon, so we're going to have to run out and heal up multiple times as we go through this. Yes, we could go get Hidden Power Dark. I'm not going to use that here though, since that's not a consistent strategy, but I do think Hidden Powers, most of them would be your best strat here in this gym. Unfortunately, before we evolve, we don't get that many moves that can actually hit ghosts. Like the best ones outside of a manipulated Hidden Power would be Blizzard and Thunder, which would require a lot of grinding at the game corner. So I think we're best off just sticking with this strategy and just hoping that we can get the luck together with the sleep to get through. Still, we're like 2-hitting Ghastlies and 3-hitting Haunters, so we could be in a situation where we don't have enough PP to actually get through the fight that's in front of us. And if that's the case, then we might just have to YOLO and get access to one of those moves to actually be able to get a victory here. Still, we won't know until we try. Maybe we need a crit or something, but we're going to give the Mint Berry right here to Nidorina and get into this Morty fight. Let's just see how it goes. So Morty attempt number 1, we're going to kiss the Ghastly to put it to sleep. Now we're going to go Mud Slap. This is a 2-hitter right here, so that's perfectly fine. Out comes the Haunter. We outspeed, we put it to sleep, and now Mud Slap is going to be a 3-hit KO. It wakes up and goes Nightshade. That's perfectly fine. We'll just put it back to sleep. We just want no Curse here. Curse would be terrible for this Nidorina. Now we get to Gengar. It misses Hypnosis. We miss Lovely Kiss. It misses Hypnosis again. Now we we have 5 PP in the move Mud Slap, and this looks like a 5-hit KO. Oh no. Oh no. Sure enough, 5 hits to get through that one. That means that while we do get to level 29, this Haunter right here in front of us cannot be damaged by us. And it knows Nightshade, so it is able to damage us. We're going to have to sit here and use up PP while it's asleep, hoping that it doesn't knock me out, and hoping that I can get this struggle, which I don't think I'm going to be able to get to because of the fact that I have so much PP in double kick and headbutt. So it looks like we're getting wrecked here. Since anytime it wakes up, it gets to use a damage dealing move, we're simply going to get knocked out right there. So I think we would need a couple of crits in order to get through this, or we need to change to moves that have less PP than what we have currently. So I'm gonna hope that I don't get cursed and just like sit here and use a little bit of PP against some of these other Pokemon. Unfortunately, we do get cursed there, and if we get cursed, we simply have to give up on the fight. So we're hoping for like a long sleep here against this first Ghastly and Haunter, and to be able to use up some of our PP against them, because otherwise I think we're not getting through short of like multiple crits as we go through this fight. This time we do crit on the first of the Haunters. Maybe we can get a better range on the Gengar. I'm not sure. Unfortunately, we can't. So once again, we're going to get a kind of bad range here, but we have lowered its accuracy a lot, and it's going to go for Hypnosis. So I think what I should do is use up my PP here against the Gengar, since it has very little accuracy. Of course, if it lands Hypnosis and lands a Dream Eater, we're getting wrecked. But we do have the Mint Berry on, so that at least gives us a chance to use more PP here. Then anytime it wakes up, we'll simply put it back to sleep, and that is allowing me to use up an awful lot of double kicks right here. So this might actually work out. We might actually be able to get to struggle by using up our PP on the Gengar. Here we get put to sleep. It's going for Dream Eater while we're asleep. Please don't hit. Please don't hit. And it finally hits. We take massive damage. We do put this one back to sleep though, but we are completely out of PP in the move Lovely Kiss, and we're on 1 HP remaining, so we would not be getting through this Gengar even with the struggle strats. So we get wrecked, but let's try this one again. Now, fortunately, we do have access to a move that will give us less PP to use up. I'm not sure if it's going to be great because we're going to be forgetting our move with the most PP, but I'm going to learn the move Detect. I'm going to put this on over Double Kick. This is to avoid grinding at the game quarter to get access to enough coins for the Blizzard or the Thunder, because we're not going Hidden Power Dark here. I'm not allowing that. That's not legit. Really, I think we could just as easily have Hidden Power Fighting and not be able to hit here. So that's the logic that I'm going off of. Let's see if we can manage to get through now that we have Detect as a strategy. So here I will still Lovely Kiss on the first Ghastly, and then we're going to go Mud Slap to 2-shot against this Pokemon. That will bring out the Haunter next. We missed the Lovely Kiss, so I think we just reset there. I'm also going to make sure to put the Mint Berry back on. I swapped it out for a Gold Berry to test some things out, but I think this is going to be my strategy for getting through this. Now, the biggest thing here is that we cannot get cursed. So anytime that we take curse from these first two Pokemon, which are the only ones that no curse on the team, we will have to reset 100% of the time there. So if this Haunter wakes up quickly and uses curse, for example, we will simply have to reset. But in this case, it just mimics Mud Slap. That's perfectly fine. So here we'll basically go for 4 accuracy drops on the Gengar first, and then we'll start using up PP. And basically any turn that I think it's likely to wake up, I'm going to use Detect and then go for the Lovely Kiss after that. And we can sit here and just keep using up our headbutts. Of course, we have Mint Berry, so we can survive 1 Hypnosis here. If he hits 2 in a row, there's not much we can do other than hope we wake up before he Dream Eaters. And of course, we can't. So we're getting wrecked right there. I don't think we'll have enough HP for the final Haunter. So this time we get to the Haunter with just 4 PP and Lovely Kiss. it goes Spite. So now we only have 1 PP, and now we can go into Struggle against this final Haunter. It's going for Mimic against Struggle, which obviously doesn't work. So we actually managed to get through, but it requires going for Detect there over Double Kick so that you have less PP to use up. I'm not sure if that's going to be terrible in the end, but I figure what the heck, it's fun to beat the game sometimes by using the worst possible strategies. Turns out that that's what this run's turning into. Now, once again, Tail from the future here. Remember how at the beginning of the Morty gym, how I was saying, why does this Pokemon learn Tail Whip at this level and that there's no way we would ever need Tail Whip in this run? Well, it turns out Tail Whip is the solution to Morty. So it actually comes in at the perfect time, proving once again that Pokemon is a perfect game that has never had any flaws or exploits in it whatsoever. If we come into the Morty fight, this time with our Nidorina, properly equipped with the moveset of Tail Whip, Mud Slap, Lovely Kiss, and Double Kick. I'm keeping Double Kick so that we have it later on for Jasmine. Then here we can go for the Lovely Kiss right here. I'm still just going to 2-shot against this first Ghastly because obviously we want to take down these curse users as quick as we can to avoid the curse status. That is the absolute worst thing that could happen to us here, but we can use 5 of our PP right there to get that done. So now on the Gengar, if it misses Hypnosis, we can put it to sleep, and now we can start using some Tail Whips to cut this Pokemon's defense in half. And that will allow us to now knock it out with half as many Mud Slaps as we were using before while it's still asleep. It's just a 3-hitter. Now we typically would have 2 PP remaining in the move, but I had to reset once and I actually got a crit on the first Ghastly. That's why I have 3 Mud Slaps here, but now we can just Tail Whip a couple times on the Haunter, and lo and behold, Mud Slap will get the 2-hit KO. So Tail Whip is actually the solution to Morty there. You don't have to go for some shenanigans and adding on Detect and trying to use up all your PP to get the Struggle. No, just take every level up move when it comes available to you. It's clearly the correct way to play the game of Pokemon, and Tail Whip is the solution to Morty. With that, you could then move on in the game with Double Kick still on the moveset, giving you that other strong physical option. You could obviously relearn Headbutt at any time, and it's completely useless in this gym, so it actually makes sense to go ahead and just add on that move. So now that I've cleared up what I think are the 2 biggest mistakes from my original run, we can get back to the action where you can just watch me unnecessarily like kneecapping my poor Nidoqueen with terrible moves just to prove, I guess, that sleep is still that broken in Gen 2. So yeah, enjoy. But with that, back to the action. But now I'm going to make one strategic choice that I think is actually a good decision. You see, now that we've beaten Morty, we can use Surf outside of battle. I'm going to come over here. We can get access to another rare candy, of course, while we're over in this section of the game. But we're also going to just take a little trip inside here. Let's just pop over and find an item. Oh, what's that? It's a Moonstone. And just like that, we're going to evolve this Nidorina into Nidoqueen. And if we had had Nidoqueen before with the Mud Slaps, we clearly would have gotten through that fight super duper easy. It's just because of the fact that we were using Nidorina that we were getting wrecked. That's fine. We'll just teleport back to Ekritique now, but with our fully evolved form, the Kiss Queen is here. And now I think there's no question about what we do. I think we go and try to fight against Jasmine. I think the Mud Slaps are going to be perfectly fine there. We can probably replace Detect with Rock Smash or something. I'm sure this is going to work out perfectly fine. We should also have a pretty good matchup against Chucky Boy's gym, so I'm actually not too worried about that part. Now, if anything, our problem is that we're at too high a level, so we're not going to learn Body Slam in this one. We're going to have to go with other moves. Still, we will learn things like Dynamic Punch here. We can learn the Elemental Punches. We can get Fury Cutter. We've got a ton of strategies that can actually work with this Pokemon now. And that makes me think that we're going to get through this section just fine, even if we're not necessarily using the best strategy. I still think it's going to ultimately work out. So here, let's just see if we can stunt on Jasmine. Now that we're our final form, we're going to outspeed everything, so that should be fine. In particular, we have 69 speed, so this is just perfect. Let's see how this goes. So here against the Magnemite, I'm simply going to go for Mud Slap and not get the one-hit KO, but I think that's fine. I think we can even just headbutt it down from there. Steelix comes out next, and it's time to go Kiss Kissy on this one. Headbutt will do nothing. Mud Slap also does very little, surprisingly. I thought the Stab Mud Slap would do a little bit more than that. So here we lose this first attempt. Let's just go ahead and make a slight moveset change here. I know we could go for a lot of different things, but I'm simply going to go for the Rock Smash here. And let's just see what that does. If we have more PP to hit that Steelix with, I think we can get through even with these super weak moves. So here, this time we'll just kiss a magnet and then punch it and then slap it. And that's going to get that one down. Next one, Steelix. We will put this Pokemon to sleep if we can manage the lovely kiss. And now it's time to start Rock Smashing first to try to get some defense drops. Unfortunately, that's just going to take too many turns, it seems, to actually get through at this point. Now here, basically what we can do is lower the accuracy of this Steelix a bunch with the Mud Slaps. Let it miss Iron Tail, just put it back to sleep, and now we can start Rock Smashing here to lower its defense. She's missing Iron Tail as we put her back to sleep, and she's already used the Hyper Potion, so Steelix goes down. That brings out the final Magnemite. We can just Mud Slap here and get a victory. So Jasmine is not even able to stand up to some like 20 base power moves from this Nidoqueen. Very nice. But with that, I think I'm going to go to Chucky Boy next since we're resistant to fighting. I think Headbutt's just going to destroy everything anyway. So let's just see how this actually works out. So here against the Hitmonlee, we don't even need to worry about anything. Just Headbutt twice and it's an easy victory. That will bring out the Hitmonchan where we can just come in here, just keep headbutting. They don't like the physical moves. That's going to be a very easy victory right there as we get to level 31. And now I don't think we're going to have any issues with the rest of these black belts here, so we can make our way straight to Chucky Boy. He does have the advantage on us with that Poliwrath using the Surf, but if we can outspeed and put it to sleep, I'm willing to bet we can headbutt that Pokemon down. Like obviously we could go Thunder Punch and things like that here, but I honestly don't think we're going to need them because of the fact that we have access to sleep. If we just get a nice long sleep there, I think we just win. So let's just see if that's the case as we come into this fight. So Chucky Boy, attempt number 1 right here. We missed the Lovely Kiss on the Primeape. I don't actually think we need to Lovely Kiss this Pokemon. It's just an easy 2-hit KO with the Headbutt. But now against the Poliwrath, let's go for the Lovely Kiss. It is asleep. We're going for the Headbutt. He full heals right there. He wakes up and he hits the Surf. We survive. We put him back to sleep and I misclicked and used Mud Slap instead of Headbutt, but still it looks like it's probably a 3-hit KO there. We should be able to get through this as long as we get a good sleep roll on this one, so let's just see. This time we put Poliwrath to sleep again. Of course he's going to wake up with the full heal. I guess we got a crit, so it's actually going to be a 4-hit KO here, but once he stays asleep, we simply get the victory. Chucky Boy just can't do anything against the sleep strats. And with that, we get access to Dynamic Punch. We can come talk to his wife and talk some trash too. And now we're ready to move on in the game. So let's just see how this goes. So here against the Final Rocket Executive, we can just go Mud Slap twice on the Arbok. Now we can Headbutt on the Murkrow. It's going to be a 2-hit KO, but still pretty easy victory. And now against the Gloom, not even going to try to put it to sleep. Come on, just knock that thing out with a couple headbutts. And we're able to get through that, and we're ready to move on to Price's Gym. Now this is going to be kind of interesting. We might end up going Dynamic Punch strats. We might end up with a Thunder Punch strat. I'm not sure. We'll just have to see how it works out here. So first things first, we're going to try to put the Seal to sleep, and then we'll just start headbutting right here. It's going to be an easy 2-hit KO on that Pokemon. That brings out the Dugong. We are faster. We missed the Lovely Kiss, but we get it the next turn after a pretty strong Aurora Beam there. It manages to wake up and hit me again though, so we're going down on that one. Still, I think we can actually get through this with just the headbutts on the basis that we have sleep. And this is what's kind of hilarious about this. Like, we're able to use often the not optimal moves and still manage victories here with the sleep strats. We also get a flinch here in this one. We get to Piloswine. We can put it to sleep. Here, we're looking like a 3 or 4 hit KO. It looks like a 4 hit KO on this one. He's probably going to Hyper Potion right here. Sure enough, he does. But as long as he stays asleep or doesn't hit a Blizzard on us, we're basically good. So we simply win on the second attempt. Yeah, Price, he can't beat a Nidoqueen that knows how to Lovely Kiss. So we just take that victory. It's time to go beat up on a bunch of rockets, gain a bunch of levels, and then we're going to have to worry about the Claire gym. But that's the point where we might actually have to be serious in this and use the best possible moves. For now, I will get access to the elemental punches just in case, and we'll also get access to return just to have it in the bag. So I've gotten a couple of each elemental punch just in case it proves necessary at some point, especially with some of these coughings and wheezings. You might actually want the elemental punches here to deal a little bit more damage. So I think I'm going to go for the ice punch first here, since that's going to be pretty good against Claire in the upcoming gym. I'm just going to throw that on over Rock Smash. We'll keep Mud Slap since it's our only same type move at this point in the game, and let's just see how we do as we go through this section. So here against the Marlboro Man, we don't have to worry about poison type moves, and even Ice Punch is enough to one-shot against these coughings. It is by far and away the best play. We did not get the one-shot on this one, but it gets frozen, so we get the victory on that one anyway. That brings out the wheezing. I think we should Lovely Kiss just this Pokemon. I'm trying to avoid Explosion, and we'll get the 2-hit KO with the Ice Punch right there. And with that, I think we get through all of these coughings just fine. We can even Mud Slap on them as revenge for them using the smoke screen on me and get the very easy victory. We get to level 39 and we're ready to go into the basement to fight against the rival. Let's see how Rival 4 likes our Kiss Queen, where we might just be able to get through him nice and easy with this moveset. We'll just have to see. So Rival 4 attempt number 1 right here. Let's go for the Lovely Kiss on the Golbat. Let's see if Ice Punch gets the one hitter. It does not. So it's good I put this one to sleep. We can knock it out the next turn. Sneasel comes out next. We're going to stick with some Lovely Kiss action here. It hits a feint attack, but that's perfectly fine. I'm just going to headbutt it down from there. It's a 2-hit KO. That will bring out the Haunter. Lovely Kiss. And now we're going for the Mud Slap. It's going to be a 2-hitter on this Pokemon, but an easy victory. Magnemite, I think we just Mud Slap in one shot. Sure enough, we do. That brings out Quilava. We'll just put this one to sleep. And now it's time to start slapping. Yes, Meganium might be harder at this point, but we would have Ice Punch for that. So I just don't think any of the rivals are particularly hard for this Pokemon at this point in the game. And we're able to move on. So let's just see how this goes against the rest of these randos. I don't think they're going to be hard. Let's get up to the top of the tower and hopefully just get the nice, easy victory through this section. And sure enough, we make it to the top of the radio tower with no issues. We're ready to take on Mr. Meet Your Doom. Let's just go ahead and headbutt his Houndour. The coughing, I'll go for the Ice Punch since it has lower special defense. And now on the Houndoom, let's go for the headbutt here. It's going to be a 2-hitter, but we can probably Mud Slap it from there. Sure enough, we can. So we get through nice and easy, get to level 44. We're ready to go to Claire's gym. I'm not sure how this gym's going to go. We're probably going to need a moveset upgrade. The Ice Punch should get us through the Dragonairs. What I'm worried about, of course, is the Kingdra. She's got the healing on it. It's going to use Surf against us. We're going to take a lot of damage there, I think. So we're just going to have to see how that one actually works out. It will probably be a little bit random. We might even need Never Melt Ice for the Dragonairs. I'm not sure if there'll be one-hit KOs with the Ice Punch or not, since it's not a same type move by any means. What we do know is that because we're in the medium-slow level up group, we will have a level advantage here as we get into this gym. Claire's Ace is only at level 40, whereas we are naturally going to be at level 45 when we actually get to that fight. And that's one of the things. You can't really stick to a level cap in a solo challenge because there are a lot of cases where there's enough experience in sections of the game, especially here in Gen 2, where even if you took the fewest possible battles, you still end up being at a higher level than the gym leader's ace. So you just kind of have to accept that. Claire can still be pretty tough in spite of the fact that you can out-level her though, especially against Pokemon that she has a type advantage against. So we're gonna have to see how this actually works out. If we one-shot all of the Dragonairs, we can even fish for a freeze on Kingdra, given that we will be faster than that Pokemon. It's only got 83 speed. We've got over 100 speed at this point. So we're gonna be perfectly fine on that end. We just have to see if it works out in terms of actually getting the ranges that we need to get through. So at least on the fight just before Claire, we did one shot against the Dragonair. So I think that means we're going to have a reasonably good range here. I will make sure to recover my HP before coming into this, of course. And let's make sure that we've got plenty of PP in that Ice Punch and Lovely Kiss, so that we have decent chances here. We may end up headbutting against the Kingdra. We'll just have to see. But let's see how this actually works out. So Claire attempt number 1, I'm going to Ice Punch on the first Dragonair. That is not a one-hitter. It just barely misses the range. That tells me that we're going to need to Never Melt Ice to get through this one, though we can go for a Lovely Kiss, just put these ones to sleep. We get a one-hit KO range on that one. Now we're faster than Kingdra, so I'm going to put this one to sleep as well. I'm even going to go for a few Mud Slaps here since we are faster and we at least have the stab bonus in that move. We can Headbutt and Headbutt again, and we managed to get through, so we're to the final Dragonair that doesn't have any water type moves or ice type moves, and we get an easy victory on the first attempt. Now, of course, Claire's gonna complain that we had Lovely Kiss with this Nidoqueen. She's like, there's no way that you just used that move with that Pokemon. This has to be some sort of hacks, cheating. We're gonna tell her to go downstairs and talk to the old guys, because they're gonna tell her about back in the early 2000s when you could go to the New York Pokemon Center and pick up your very own Lovely Kiss Nidoran Female. And here, after explaining to 3 guys who are almost as old as RBY Pokemon challenges how we got access to this Pokemon, they're going to tell Claire that it's time to give us that badge and go warn Lancey Boy, because we're coming in with the Ice Punch at least. Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, I think completely destroys Lance at the end of the game. We're just going to have to see how it goes, but that is probably going to be my strategy. Still with that, we're ready to go to Rival 5 and the League with this one, and it's going to be very interesting to see just how good or bad this Nidoqueen is here. There are a lot of League members that are set up to be kind of strong against this Pokemon. Of course, it starts with Willy Boy. If we can get through Will, though, we might have decent chances against Koga. Bruno, we can definitely get through with the Earthquakes. Karen will be interesting. We might have to go for a Dynamic Punch strat or something there in order to get through her Dark types, with Earthquake being the strategy to take down that Gengar. And then Earthquake is going to be completely nullified by Lancey Boy, but I think we're going to have enough coverage that we're simply going to be able to get him down anyway. So we'll just have to see, but for now, we're just going to make our way through this last trainer and then go fight against our rival, who hopefully won't be too hard, but I think I'm going to go for the Earthquake strat in order to beat him, just because it's such an obvious move to throw on this Pokemon. Like, I think we just go for the Earthquake and then kind of mix in elemental punches around it and maybe Dynamic Punch at some point, and that's probably the best way to progress. We'll just have to see if that actually works out, but for now, I'm going Earthquake strats all the way in this one, and let's just see how the rival likes it when he's getting hit by Earthquakes left and right. So rival attempt number 1 right here against the Sneasel. Let's just go Earthquake. That gets the 1-hit KO. Kadabra can also get Earthquaked. Easy victory. Golbat comes out next. I'm going to Ice Punch this Pokemon. It will be a 2-hitter as it goes for Confuse Ray on me. Still, we managed to move after hitting ourselves once. Now we can try to Earthquake on the Magneton. We hit ourselves in confusion twice as it Sonic Booms, but then we simply knock it out with the Quake. That's going to bring out the Typhlosion, more Earthquake, and finally Haunter, more Earthquake. So we just destroy everything. I probably should have gone against something that wouldn't be so weak against my Earthquakes here, but you know, the rival, he's really a non-factor. Literally after Rival 2, he just doesn't really matter. At least I have yet to find a single Pokemon that he actually walls. So with that, I'm just going to make my way into the league. Hopefully I have enough TMs. Let's see if we can get this to go, starting with Willy Boy. So we'll attempt number 1. We're coming in at level 47. His first Xatu is only at level 40, and we're fast enough to outspeed everything here. I'm going to go all in on attack first. We go for the Ice Punch. It is not a one-hitter. Psychic does massive damage, so we're going to be in kind of bad shape here. I'm going to Earthquake against the Jinx. That does get the one-hit KO. Slowbro comes out next. I think we have to Lovely Kiss here, and now we can go Earthquake, and this looks like a two-hitter. Still, we do not quite get the range, and then we have to headbutt it down. That brings out Xatu number 2. We put it to sleep. We're going to Ice Punch, and this is going to be a two-hitter. He goes for the Max Potion, but that's just a healing loop. He's not going to be able to do anything. And Exeggutor, we go for the Lovely Kiss. Let's go for the Ice Punch, and that's another two-hit KO. So we beat Willy Boy on the first attempt, even with him hitting a couple Psychics. It was not enough against our Nidoqueen. Lovely Kiss definitely carried us there a little bit though, because it definitely helped us get through those Zatus and that Exeggutor at the end. But now as we go into the next fight, I'm going to learn another Elemental Punch. I'm going to currently forget Headbutt to learn Fire Punch, since it will be super effective against a lot of members of this team. We've got Earthquake for Muck, and then we can go Ice Punch on the Golbat. Let's just see how this actually works out. So Koga attempt number 1 right here. Let's see if Fire Punch is enough for Ariados. It is, so we get a nice easy victory. Venomoth comes out next. It is a two-hitter, but it misses Supersonic. Are you kidding me? Easy victory. Now Fortress, that's why I wanted the Fire Punch. It's an easy one-hit KO. Crobat comes out next. It goes double team. We kiss it. In spite of the double team, he goes for the full restore right there to recover from the sleep. But if we hit an Ice Punch, we simply knock that one out. That brings out the Muck. We're going Earthquake all the way right here. That's a one-hitter. So Koga was a non-factor. We completely destroyed him, and that is a nice, easy victory. So I'm just going to recover a little bit of PP and throw on that full restore, and it's time for Bruno. So Bruno attempt number 1 right here. I'm going to Lovely Kiss the Hitmontop just because I can. And now let's go for the Earthquake. This is an easy two-hitter from the looks of things. I'll just Fire Punch it down from there. Hitmonchan will stick with the physical move Earthquake here, just barely missing the one-hitter. Still, it goes down as well. Hitmonlee can come out. We'll Earthquake this Pokemon, and we do get the one-hit KO. Onix comes out. Let's go Ice Punch since it has low special defense. That gets us to level 50. As we get to the Machamp, we Lovely Kiss, and now we can just Earthquake on this Pokemon. It's going to be a two-hit KO, but it's not like this Pokemon could do anything against us anyway. So we get a nice, easy victory against Bruno. Turns out, no need to talk about Bruno. Now, however, we do make it to a potential challenge, which is going to be Karen. Karen just has lots and lots of trolly strats. We're going to have to see if our current moves are enough. We have moves for the Vileplume, so I think that's going to be fine. Earthquake should mostly get through everything else, but let's just see. Of course, Murkrow will have to Ice Punch, but I think it will go down pretty easily as well. I'm mostly worried about the first Umbreon, but if we put it to sleep and avoid any sand attacks, I think we're good. Let's just see. So here against Karen, I'm going to Lovely Kiss the Umbreon and now go into Earthquake. This is going to be a two-hitter right here, taking that Pokemon down. That brings out the Vileplume. I don't expect this to be a one-hitter, which is why I'm going for Lovely Kiss. It lands the Stun Spore on me and then goes Petal Dance, and we're just like not able to move at all. Come on. Still, we can hit the Fire Punch right here. It's going to take a couple hits as she goes for Moonlight. Then she hits herself in Confusion, so we get the victory on that one. Murkrow comes out next, goes Feint Attack, and we're fully paralyzed, so we're simply failing to get the hits that we need. I think if we could hit everything, we would simply win. Unfortunately, we lose that one just because we couldn't put that Vileplume to sleep. Let's try this one again. So here, I think this mostly comes down to landing the Lovely Kiss on the first two Pokemon. This Umbreon, of course, we need to knock out without getting any accuracy drops. And then on this Vileplume, we need to put it to sleep so that we have the ability to simply knock it out without getting any status. after that, I think we're good. Murkrow comes out, we just Ice Punch it, easy victory. That's going to bring out the Houndoom, where we just go Earthquake and destroy it. And that's going to bring out the Gengar at the end. We've got the Earthquake. She doesn't get a chance to set anything up. So once you actually land 2 lovely kisses, this is an insanely easy fight. Still, you have to get that level of luck, and it tells me that we might be in bad shape when we get here in the actual minimum battle series with Nidoqueen, because she's not going to have lovely kiss to get through Will, to get through Karen. I think Koga and Bruno will basically be the same. I don't think they're going to be too hard, but definitely the Will fight will be much harder for this Pokemon, and the Karen fight will be much harder for this one. So we're just going to have to see how that goes. Here, I'm going to go ahead and learn Thunder Punch, though, as we come to Lance. I don't think we need Fire Punch. It's completely useless here, but the Thunder Punch, Ice Punch gives us enough coverage, I think, to get through this. Let's see how it goes. So Lancey boy, attempt number 1. We've got the Gyarados in front of us. I am going to put it to sleep to avoid getting hit by any water type moves, just in case. And it's a good thing I did, because we do not one-hit KO with a Thunder Punch there. That brings out the first Dragonite. I miss with the lovely kiss, but let's just see what Ice Punch does. Okay, it does get the one-hit KO. Let's try that on the second Dragonite as well. Once again, getting the one-hitter. Aerodactyl's not really that scary. It can go Hyper Beam, but we're definitely going to survive, and then we can just go for the Ice Punch here. It's only going to take a couple of hits to knock that one out. Charizard is a little bit scarier, but we put it to sleep. We can now go for the Thunder Punch. This is going to be a 2-hit KO. That brings us to the final Dragonite. I think we have enough HP. We can just go for the Ice Punch. It goes Safeguard, so we're going to have to go for Ice Punch no matter what, since we can't really go for status now, but we get the 2-hitter there. So if you can get to Lance with the Ice Punch, Thunder Punch, you're basically good to go. But in the actual minimum battle series, we might have to go Thunder there in order to get a victory, because we're not quite doing enough damage with the Thunder Punch. Still, we managed to register Nidoqueen into the Hall of Fame, and just like that, we're ready to move on to Kanto. Really not too bad. I had some bad strats at the beginning when we were Nidoran and Nidorina, but it was kind of hilarious to see the things that we could do, using Lovely Kiss to eventually knock out a Ghastly with only Poison Sting on Rival 2, using Detect to have less PP so that we could get to struggle on Morty and just use the Mud Slap. Come on, that's ridiculous. In the end, we get it to go, and we're on to the second half of our run. So very quickly, before I make my way to Kanto, of course, I will get access to all of the rare candies, etc. that I have not picked up so far, and then we're going to see if we can manage to beat Red on minimum battles. It hasn't always been the prettiest. Definitely some spots I just made life much harder for myself than I needed to, but this should be good enough to go, I think. Assuming that we get the right moves, we might even need to look at the move tutor. I'll think about that as I go through this section. I'm going to use Gyarados just to knock everything out so I can get access to the Flash HM. It just helps me root, but we will prevent our Nidoqueen from getting any of that XP. It's all going to be this Gyarados just thrashing against these Bellsprouts while we take down Sage Lee. And you'll notice that now that we've beaten the league, the rival decides to stop fighting old men and be a decent person. So we're the only ones coming here to challenge him, and that's only because he has that HM that we need. So we'll simply spam Thrash, and this is going to be an easy victory. And once we get this, we can pretty easily get all of the rare candies that we need, and we'll be off to Kanto. We are going to have to come back and do a series in Heart Gold Soul Silver, though, where this section of the game is actually required to progress. I wonder if the extra XP is going to be enough to make Faulkner basically a joke, or is it going to actually just be scaled properly so that it's more difficult? I honestly don't know, but I'm going to have to make a new overlay for that generation. I got a few tips on how to start setting that up, so that's going to be in my future plans. If you're interested in that, definitely tell me in the comments so that I know how many people are interested in that generation. Basic plan right now is to probably do a separate Gen 4 channel for Diamond, Platinum, and Pearl, but to have the remakes of Heart Gold Soul Silver right here on GSC Pokemon Challenges. So I'm obviously running out of doppelgangers to do do different channels for me. So I think that's going to be the most efficient way. I just assume that most people who are interested in this generation would be interested in the remakes as well, but definitely tell me what you guys think about that. But for now, we're ready to make our way to the SS Aqua. Let's get to Vermilion City. I think we're going to completely stunt on Surgy Boy, but let's see if any of the Kanto gym leaders are actually a problem for this Nidoqueen. But let's start with the super easy one, which is going to be Surgy Boy. Obviously, Earthquake's going to completely crush here, so I'm pretty sure he's going to be just a piece of cake, but let's just verify that that is in fact the case. So Surgy Boy leads off with his Raichu. I'm just going to go Earthquake here. I don't think we need any Lovely Kiss, so we just one-shot that one. Electabuzz comes out next and goes Quick Attack. Good job. Easy victory on that. Electrode probably should just go Boom, but we managed to just one-shot it anyway. Same for the second Electrode. That's going to bring out his Magneton, 4 times weak to ground. Obviously, he was trying to hide it in a corner somewhere, but we get through and get to level 54. So just like that, Surgy Boy goes down on the first attempt. Now I think we go and stunt on Sabrina, even though we are poison type. I'm just pretty sure she can't do anything to us. I'm pretty sure we're just gonna deal too much damage. But who knows? Maybe she proves to actually be hard for once. Up to this point, I don't think I've seen her ever actually be a challenge. So I'm gonna come in spite of my type weakness and just see if I can get the victory or not. So Sabrina leads off with her Espeon, but we're 8 levels higher than this. So I'm just going Earthquake right here. We get not the one-hit KO. I'm surprised it actually survives. That brings out Mr. Mime next. We go Earthquake after the Sand Attack. We do manage to get the one-hitter there. Alakazam, we hit the Earthquake, and it goes down. So we do get the easy victory there. We are going to have to watch out for both the Alakazam on Blue's team and the Espeon on Red's team, though, especially the fact that we didn't one-shot Espeon. I thought we would easily one-hit KO that Pokemon. Turns out not the case. Now, since it is nighttime, I will make sure to get the Curse TM just to have it, and we will pick up the leftovers as well. We basically know that this is a victory lap at this point, but there could be a point where Curse plus Earthquake is the strategy. For example, on the final battle against Red, obviously we can't use that on Charizard. We're going to have a different strategy on that one, but we can hopefully at least heal up with the leftovers as we go through these fights. We haven't even been holding an item for quite a while, so I think leftovers are just going to be the obvious play that gets us through a lot of spots in the late game after we get through this little victory lap that we're doing on the Kanto gyms. So I figure let's just go fight Erica because we got plenty of PP in the Ice Punch, and I think we're going to one-shot everything, but who knows? We might end up not getting the one-hit KOs just because of the fact that it's not a same type move. It is only 75 base power. So Erica attempt number 1, she leads off with Tangela. I'm going to Ice Punch there. We get the one-hit KO. That brings out Victory Bell, and Victory Bell has lower special defense, so I do think it's worth going for the Ice Punch here. It's probably pretty close between Ice Punch and Earthquake, but we get the one-hitter either way. Blossom obviously is an Ice Punch spot. It's a 2-hit KO as it goes for the Sunny Day. She goes for the Hyper Potion, and then we knock that one out, but not a one-hitter, funny enough. And now we have to go for the Ice Punch on the jump bluff. Easy victory. That gets us to level 56 right there as we defeat our 3rd Kantonian gym leader. So now let's just make our way through the whole machine part quest and break up Misty's date. I'm going to try Misty once immediately, just because if any Pokemon could be a wall to us right now, it would be her Quagsire. We don't actually have a whole lot of good moves there, just the neutrally effective Stab Earthquake. So who knows, that Pokemon might hold on and actually deal some damage to us. Now, the only interesting part of coming up here to fight all these randos on the way to Misty is, of course, that we do get to come up against our male counterpart Nidoking, another Pokemon that might need to be run with Lovely Kiss, but it has other moves, things like Morning Sun and I think Moonlight, as well as Sweet Kiss. So we might have to do a separate Nidoking run with a different move just to see how it does when it has that on the moveset. For now though, Earthquake is the way to go. It's clearly a mistake on this guy's part that he doesn't have any Earthquake on his Nidoking. That means that we get these super easy victories. We get to level 57. And after we scare away Misty's boyfriend with a lovely kiss from a Nidoqueen, we're gonna have to now go in and just completely destroy her gym. Who cares about type weaknesses? I'm going in here to completely destroy this one. I'm sure we're gonna get the first attempt victory. Let's see how it goes. So Misty attempt number 1, she leads off with the Golduck. I'm going for Thunder Punch here. It does get the one hitter on that Pokemon. Quagsire comes out next. I think we go Lovely Kiss, and then we go for the Earthquake. This is not going to be a one hitter. We get the Rain Dance set up. We'll just Ice Punch it down from there. That brings out Lapras, and this Pokemon knows things like Surf, Blizzard, and Perish Song that I don't want to see. So I'm going to put it to sleep before going for the Thunder Punch, which is a two hitter. It wakes up and hits the powered up Surf with a crit. Are you kidding me? So we nearly get one shot there. That brings out Starmie. Are we faster? Yes, we're faster. I'm going for Earthquake. I want to hit this Pokemon where it hurts. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough. So we actually lose the first attempt against Misty. The bad sleep luck was definitely part of the problem. We're going to have to just try this one again and see if we can manage to get through. We actually need her Pokemon to stay asleep here. And that Rain Dance plus the critical hit was kind of OP. I'm calling hacks on Misty here, but still we're just going to have to actually put her to sleep again this time. We get another Surf from Lapras that does less here because it didn't get the crit. And now we'll Thunder Punch this Pokemon knowing that it's a two-hitter, but we're going to the final Starmie on much better health. So this time, let's go for the Lovely Kiss. We miss. We get confused by the Confuse Ray. We hit ourselves in confusion. Surf does massive damage. Now we miss Lovely Kiss again, and for the second time in a row, we get wrecked. I'm pretty sure we can get the win on this fight. It's just a matter of actually getting Lovely Kiss to connect. But that tells us that a standard Nidoqueen just coming in here with attacking moves is going to need an upgrade on this Thunder Punch in order to get through here. And you don't really have anything good for the Quagsire. It's basically at best going to be neutral damage. So you're going to be in kind of tough shape coming into this one. Sunny Day strats could be the way to go with a standard Nidoqueen here in order to reduce the power of these water type moves, clear up the rain, and hopefully get the victory that way. This time we land the Lovely Kiss on Starmie though. She goes for a full heal, but we'll just Earthquake and then Earthquake again, and that gives us the victory as we get to level 58. Still, Misty put up a good fight there. 3 attempts to actually get through her with our Nidoqueen. She is definitely proving that she is no slouch in this generation. And after we get past the Snorlax, we're ready to make our way to Brocky Boy, who should be a complete pushover in this one. The only challenge in this section is getting past this guy who's clearly being attacked by bees, which is why he's spinning around so quickly. He's going to send 3 bee drills out after us if we try to pass him. Still, we managed to get through this time, so we're on to the gym. We just have to avoid that guy in his beehive when we try to go back down south to Viridian. So Brocky Boy time, let's see how he likes a ground type Pokemon using actual ground type moves. We go Earthquake on the Graveler, getting a one-hit KO. Earthquake on the Rhyhorn also destroys that Pokemon. That's going to bring out the Amistar. It wants to go Surf, but the Earthquake gets the job done. Kabutops, more Earthquake action, and that's going to bring out the Onix. We can go Earthquake, and it is a one-hitter. No need to go for special moves to exploit their lower special defense. No. We can go straight head-to-head, toe-to-toe with Brocky Boy, proving that the ground type is superior to the rock type in every possible way. And after resetting for a small eternity to get past Beedrill guy, we're on our way down south. We're going to go take on Blaney Boy, who should be super easy, Janine, who should also be super easy, and then we're going to have to come and fight Blue, who might actually present a little bit of trouble for us since he is going to have that Alakazam. He has the Gyarados. The Rhydon is actually probably going to be able to stand up to a hit, so we might need to think about our strategy a little bit here, and we're probably going for some Lovely Kisses here to get through that fight. So here, as we come and tell Blue what we're planning, he's going to run back to Viridian Gym, trying to make a strategy that will beat this Lovely Kissing Nidoqueen while we go and just completely destroy Blaney Boy. So Blaine leads off with his Mag Cargo. Obviously, we go Earthquake right here, and that gets a one-hit KO. Out next comes the Magmar. No need for Lovely Kiss here, just an easy one-hitter. And that brings out the Rapidash, which also just never stood a chance against our Kiss Queen. No way. Nidoqueen gets to move on in the game, and it's time to go fight Janine. We know Janine can't do anything this time. We're a Poison type. She's going to try to use Poison type moves on us. It's obviously not going to work. So we're going to just hopefully get through this gym nice and easy. I will just make sure I've got lots of Earthquake PP so that we can just Earthquake on everything, basically. So Janine attempt number 1. She leads off with Crobat. We can just Ice Punch that Pokemon, getting a one-hit KO. Out comes Venomoth next. Let's go Earthquake because it is a Rock-type Pokemon, so it is weak to the move. That brings out Ariados next. I guess we'll just stick with Earthquake, even though it's only neutrally effective on that one. Not sure why the overlay says that Venomoth and Ariados are the same type. It makes no sense. Clearly, this overlay needs to be fixed. Weezing gets completely destroyed, and the second Weezing comes out and also gets destroyed by the Earthquake. So, turns out that, yeah, Janine, complete joke. No challenge for this Pokemon whatsoever. And with that, it's back to Blue, and this is going to be our first actual test in Kanto. Let's see how his gym actually goes, given that we are running kind of mid-tier moves at this point other than Earthquake, but the Lovely Kiss plus our decent stats all around might be enough to simply make this an afterthought. So Blue attempt number 1, he leads off with the Pidgeot. I'm going to put this one to sleep and then go Ice Punch, and it's going to be a 2-hitter. That's why I put it to sleep, because I was pretty sure we're not one-shotting here. We get to level 60. Alakazam, I think we can just go Earthquake as long as we outspeed, and it will be a one-hitter there. Gyarados comes out next. We miss the Lovely Kiss. It hits the Hydro Pump, and we miss Lovely Kiss again as it goes Rain Dance. I want to put this one to sleep so that we can hopefully A, heal up, and B, use the Thunder Punch here. And Thunder Punch is going to be a 2-hit KO, but he's going full restores. We're just getting the healing loop, and that's all we need. We even get the paralysis just to add insult to injury. And there we go. We get through to Rhydon. This Pokemon, again, I think we need to put it to sleep. I don't think that we're going to one-shot with the Earthquake. I think it's better to go for the Ice Punch here. Even that is going to be a 2-hit KO. Still, we can just get the victory. Let's move on to the Arcanine. Arcanine, obviously, we've got the Earthquake to one-shot that Pokemon, despite the fact that it is a Dragon type. Don't ask me why Dragon is weak to that move. It is. And with that, we're moving on to the final Exeggutor. It's going for Solar Beam. We're just going to kiss it as it gets ready to go for that, and then go for the Ice Punch, getting a 2-hit KO victory. So just like that, we get to level 61, and we're ready to move on to Red. At the very end of the game, we're going to have 10 rare candies in the bag, so we can get up to level 71 for this fight. I think we're going to be perfectly fine here. We might have to think a little bit about strategy in some spots. Honestly, I think our moveset is strong enough to get through this entire team. At least at level 71, I'm sure that we're winning this easily. As long as we get the Lovely Kisses in the spots that we need it, I'm pretty sure we're going to be faster than most of the team, just because of the fact that we are running on max DVs here. If we were running on lower DVs, we might be in trouble, but our speed stat is actually pretty legit with this Nidoqueen. So I say just heal up and let's get into this fight and see how it actually goes. So here he is, Red. It's time to see if we can win this fight. I'm going to go in once at my current level. If it doesn't work, we'll start slapping on some rare candies. Let's see how this actually works. He leads off with his Pikachu. I'm going Earthquake on this Pokemon. He just quick attacks, and that's going to allow me to get an easy one-hit KO victory there. Espeon is out next. It is faster than us. It hits the Psychic, dealing massive damage. We get wrecked. So I think the rare candies are coming in. Let's see how much speed we can actually get here by leveling up. I don't think we'll be able to outspeed against that Espeon. That Espeon is pretty darn fast. We should be faster than Pikachu, but not faster than Espeon. That could be a problem. We're going to have to see if we can actually get through this. So here against the Pikachu, we're going Earthquake, and that is a one-hit KO. Nice and easy. Brings out Espeon again. It goes Psychic, and we survive. I'm going Lovely Kiss so that A, we can hopefully recover a little bit of HP, and B, we can hopefully get the 2-hit KO range. Since this isn't a one-hitter, it wakes up and hits the Psychic. I think I had 2 HP. Oh no, I think I reset too quickly. I saw the HP bar going down and just thought we were done but we might have actually survived there. Rip. Next attempt, we take a massive Psychic. We will go for the Earthquake again, but once again, 2-hit KO here. Still, it stays asleep this time, allowing us to get to the Snorlax. I'm very interested that Red doesn't send out like Blastoise here, given that we do have the type weakness against water. Why does he sometimes send Blastoise out like second? And then in this case, he's going like in a standard order of like Pikachu first, I understand, that's locked in. Espeon next makes sense. We're weak against Psychic, but why would he send out the Snorlax third? That doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe it's because he sees Amnesia and Rest on his moveset and he thinks he has Psychic type moves for me? I'm just honestly not sure. Still, I'm going to put this Snorlax to sleep. Let's go for the Earthquake right here. It's looking like a 3-hit KO. We get hit by Snore, which is bad. Still, that was a critical hit. I think a non-crit doesn't do as much, but we do get knocked out. We might need to avoid the crit there in order to get a victory. So this time we'll once again put Pikachu to sleep. It just went quick attack. We basically recovered a full HP after that. We get Reflect from the Espeon this time. And with that, it's going to be a worse range here with the Earthquake. It's a 3-hitter now, barring a critical hit. Still, we want to use up some of the turns of Reflect, so I think that's perfectly fine. The Reflect fades here against the Snorlax as we put it to sleep. Once again, looking like a 3-hitter. Snore doesn't do that much when we're basically on full health, so we get another crit, taking us down pretty far, but we will get through that Pokemon. Blastoise comes out 4th. We missed the Lovely Kiss, but it goes Rain Dance. Now we get to put it to sleep, and now if it just stays asleep enough turns, we can Thunder Punch this Pokemon down. It's a 3-hit KO. And with that and the Rain Dance, we simply get knocked out. We would need a much better sleep on that Pokemon. And this is as high as we get on minimum battles. Like level 71, that's what you're getting to. We dropped the rare candies at the latest possible moment. So there is no way to get a higher level without grinding optional battles with this Pokemon. And that's something that I refuse to do. We are going to become a champion on minimum battles here. I swear that is the goal. Here, Snorlax wakes up and sets up Amnesia for one turn. That's perfectly fine. We will simply go into the Earthquakes after it goes back to sleep. We get Body Slammed here and Paralyzed though, and that is going to wreck us in this one because I'm certain that we're getting destroyed by the Blastoise that comes out next. So I think we just reset here. Honestly, I think that's all that we can do. Now, it seems like Red kind of randomizes between using Psychic or using Reflect with the Espeon. I think we want to run where it uses Reflect, like this one, because if it goes Psychic, it just deals way too much damage. And then as long as we get 3 turns of sleep or a crit, we can manage to get through just fine there. Snorlax, we absolutely do not want to get paralyzed by the Body Slam. If we get the paralysis, I think we can just immediately reset because we know we're not getting through on that run. So we do manage to get back to Blastoise this time. It's taken quite a few attempts, but we do get it to sleep. Now we just need the luck for it to stay asleep enough turns that we can actually knock this one out. I'll go Thunder Punch in between, and it does look like we will get the 3-hit KO. Surf did a lot of damage, but we did manage to survive. That brings out Venusaur next, which I really like because we're not going to take any super effective damage here. We can just Lovely Kiss, and we can go for the Ice Punches here, knowing that it's probably going to take multiple turns, but that's fine. We'll just recover with the leftovers. That allows us to get to the final Charizard. Honestly, probably the bigger threat than the Venusaur since we can't go Earthquake here. It goes Flamethrower, dealing massive damage. We missed the Lovely Kiss, and the Flamethrower ends me. We needed to land Lovely Kiss there to have a chance to get through at the end. So we might have wanted to stall out more on the Venusaur just to get more HP back. Still, we can see that we get to the final Pokemon. So there is a chance. Of course, if we get critical hit by the Espeon, there is no chance that we're getting through this one. So that is kind of a problem. A couple attempts later, we are back to Blastoise though. We hit the sleep. I misclicked and went Ice Punch. Oh no. Oh no, that could be bad. Still, Thunder Punch gets a crit after that, so we are going to knock this one out. He once again sends out Venusaur, probably because of the super effectiveness against the ground type, I guess. So we'll put this one to sleep, and let's just kind of stall out some turns. I'm going to go for one Earthquake here just to see how much damage it does. It looks like this is a 3-hit KO with Earthquake. Sure enough, it holds on with a Sliver. That's perfectly fine. I'm just going to Thunder Punch right there. We're on close to full health as we get to the Charizard this time. It goes for the Flamethrower. We get the lovely Kiss. Now it's time to go for that Thunder Punch, and we do a little less than half. This is going to be a 3-hitter. It wakes up. Oh no, we do not get the range. Do we survive? That's the question. No, we do not. Oh no. Oh, we just needed it to stay asleep. We had no way to put it back to sleep at that point in order to actually get the victory. It has to be 3 turns there in order to keep that one asleep long enough to get a win. So incredibly close there. We've had 2 attempts where we could have won, and we simply did not get the luck with the sleep that we needed. This time we once again knock out Blastoise though, so we're back to Venusaur, which I think the best thing it can do is just go Solar Beam here. So even if we miss Lovely Kiss, this isn't going to be too bad. Ice Punch gets the worst range here. We still look like we're doing a 3-hit KO no matter what we do, so that's perfectly fine. We're back to Charizard, which is just ever so slightly faster than us. So we're gonna need some luck here. It goes for the Flamethrower, and it gets a crit, taking us down to 3 HP. We hit the Lovely Kiss. Please stay asleep for 3 turns. Please just stay asleep for 3 turns. And this time we get the 2-hit KO with the crit. Yes! Oh, it took 16 attempts on Red though. Red proves that he is an absolute beast. Still, we managed to get Nidoqueen through the game on minimum battles there with the Lovely Kiss. The question is, will we be able to get this done without Lovely Kiss? I think in the actual minimum battle series, we're going to end up going Thunder and Blizzard towards the end, because I think those moves are actually going to be needed in order to get the victory. We could also try setting up the Fury Cutter on the Pikachu on the basis that it can't really do anything to us, though the problem is that it could just set up Charm and end up completely wrecking us. Curse plus Quick Claw strats could be a thing when we do this legitimately in the minimum battle series, but that makes me really nervous. Still, that looked a little less consistent at the end than I was hoping it would be with the Lovely Kiss, but we do ultimately become a champion. We had some misplays early on in the run. We likely had some strategy mistakes. I was making a lot of misclicks tonight, but ultimately we get the job done, and Nidoqueen is a champion. So anyway, with that, let me just say thank you to the channel members. Thanks to everybody who watches and supports to the end. It means the world to me. Thank you so much for your support, and I will see you in the next one. Later.